Antiarrhythmic. Let's be honest, that one word is enough to make any medical student break out in a cold sweat. It's a notoriously tough topic, right? All those complex mechanisms, that massive list of drugs. It's just a lot.
But what if there was a way to just cut through all that noise? What if I told you that mastering this entire feared subject really just boils down to cracking a simple code? We're talking about a set of powerful mnemonics that will literally unlock everything you need to know for your exams.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to get our hands on the master key, the one that unlocks all 4 classes. Then we'll hit up a mnemonic menu for class 1, find an alphabetic clue for class 2, open up the super high-yield imidazole file for class 3, and finish up by meeting the 2 main players in class 4. You ready? Let's do this.
Okay, first things first, the master key. Seriously, commit this one sentence to memory, and I guarantee you will never ever mix up the 4 main classes of antiarrhythmics again.
So what is it? It's this. SBPC. Somebody plays chess. That's it. Let it sink in. S is for sodium channel blockers. That's your class 1. B is for beta blockers. Class 2. P, that's for potassium channel blockers. Class 3. And C is for calcium channel blockers. Class 4. Somebody plays chess. So simple, so effective. This is the foundation for everything that follows.
Okay, but to really get how these drugs do their job, we've got to have a quick chat about the heart's electrical wiring, the cardiomyocyte action potential. Think of it as the life of a single heartbeat, told in 5 quick steps. You've got phase 4, the resting potential, kind of the quiet before the storm. Then boom, phase 0, the upstroke. This is the big explosion of sodium rushing into the cell, the spark that starts it all. After that, the cell just needs to reset. Phase 1 is a quick dip as some potassium leaves. Phase 2 is this cool plateau where calcium comes in. And finally, phase 3 is the big slide down as potassium rushes out, getting everything back to baseline, ready for the next beat.
All right, let's jump into our first class. Class I, the sodium channel blockers. Now, to nail down the 3 different subclasses and all their drugs, we are not going to sit here and stare at a boring list. Nope. We're going to place an order at a fast food joint. So, what's on the menu? For class 1A, we're getting a double quarter pounder. That's your disopramide, quinidine, and procainamide. For class 1B, we'll get it with lettuce and mayo. That's lidocaine and mixilotine. And to finish it off, for class 1C, a side of fries, please. Flecainide and propafenone. Say it with me. Double quarter pounder, lettuce mayo, fries, please. You have got to burn that phrase into your brain. So what's the mechanism here? Well, remember that explosive phase 0 upstroke we just talked about? That's their target. As sodium channel blockers, they get in there and slow down that massive rush of sodium. Think about it like this. You're essentially throttling back the engine of the heart cell. You're slowing that electrical signal down, and that is exactly what you want to do to shut down a lot of these crazy arrhythmias.
But here's the really clever part. Not all these drugs hit the brakes with the same force. And guess what? Our menu has a built-in mnemonic for their potency. Just think. The more salt in the food, the stronger the sodium blockade. So lettuce and mayo, not very salty. That means class 1B has the weakest effect. The fries, super salty, right? That makes class 1C the most potent sodium channel blockers. And the burger? Well, it's right there in the middle.
Now for class 1A, I need you to picture something really weird. Imagine that double quarter pounder, but instead of a normal bun, it's served on a super long, foot-long hot dog bun. Why on earth would you do that? Because that long bun is your visual trigger for a prolonged QT interval. This is an absolute classic high-yield exam question. Class 1A drugs are famous or infamous for causing QT prolongation. See the long bun? Think long QT.
And this menu mnemonic gives us one of the most critical clinical distinctions you absolutely have to know for your exams. Think about it. What happens to a patient's diet after a heart attack? Well, you're going to tell them to swap the greasy fries for a healthy salad, right? Same logic here. Class 1C, the fries please, is bad. It's contraindicated after myocardial infarction. But class 1B, the lettuce mayo, is good. You can use it. Trust me, this point is basically guaranteed to show up.
Okay, we finished our meal. Let's move on to class 2, the beta blockers. And you're going to love this because it's so much simpler. First off, B is the second letter of the alphabet, right, for class 2? Easy. And even better, pretty much every single drug in this class ends with the letters LOL. Metoprolol, atenolol, propranolol. You see LOL on an exam, you should immediately think beta blocker. Done.
But wait, there's one small catch. Not all beta blockers are created equal. Some are cardioselective, meaning they mostly just work on the heart. So how do you remember which ones those are?
Simple. Think of a beam of light. A beam is very selective. It only hits one spot. So the drugs that make up beam are your cardioselective ones: bisoprolol, esmolol, atenolol, and metoprolol. And this is super important, especially for your patients who have lung issues like asthma. And while we're on the topic of things to watch out for, the contraindications are as easy as A, B, C, D. A is for asthma. You don't want to give a non-selective beta blocker that could clamp down on the lungs. B is for bradycardia, a slow heart rate because, well, these drugs slow the heart rate. C is for cardiogenic shock, a situation where the heart is already failing and you absolutely do not want to block its last bit of adrenaline-fueled drive. And D is for diabetes, and this is more of a caution because they can hide the warning signs of low blood sugar.
Okay, time to move on. Let's open the file on Class 3, the Potassium Channel Blockers. Now, there are a few different drugs in this class, but let's be real. For your exams, there's one king that rules them all. One drug you absolutely have to know inside and out. And that drug is amiodarone. So to remember the main drugs in this class, there's a mnemonic that's, well, it's a bit edgy, but I promise you it is incredibly effective. It's AIDS. A for amiodarone, of course, I for ibutylide, D for dofetilide, and S for sotalol. Look, we're just using this as a powerful memory tool and it works.
So how do these class 3 drugs actually work? Well, remember phase 3 of the action potential, the big slide down? They block the potassium channels that make that happen. So by keeping potassium trapped inside the cell for just a little bit longer, they literally stretch out the action potential. Now, this can be a good thing. It gives the heart cell a longer rest period. But, and this is a huge but, it comes with a major risk. Just like our long bun class 1A drugs, these guys also prolong the QT interval.
Amiodarone is a fantastic drug, it really is, but it comes with a laundry list of side effects. And to remember them, we've got another very powerful, unforgettable mnemonic, BITCH. B is for blue skin discoloration. I is for interstitial lung disease, that's lung scarring. T is for thyroid toxicity. Weirdly, it can cause both an underactive and an overactive thyroid. C is for corneal deposits. And H is for hepatotoxicity, which is liver damage. You have to know this one cold.
All right, we're on the home stretch. We've finally arrived at Class 4, the calcium channel blockers. And I've got some great news for you. For antiarrhythmic purposes, you really only need to lock down 2 key drugs from this group, the non-dihydropyridine calcium channel blockers.
So what's the mnemonic to make sure these 2 stick? Just think of the Roman numeral for Class 4, IV. And think of an IV drip. The V and the D are right there for you. V for verapamil and D for diltiazem. That's it. IV drip, verapamil, diltiazem. You'll never forget those are your Class 4s.
And what about their side effects? Well, the mnemonic is hiding in plain sight. It's the name of the class itself, CCB. The first C is for constipation, which is a really common one. The second C is for cardiac block, because they slow down the signal traveling through the AV node. And the B, that's for bradycardia, because you guessed it, they slow down the heart rate.
Okay, let's put it all together. This right here is your final cheat sheet, the whole thing on one page. Class 1, that's our fast food menu, great for ventricular arrhythmias, but remember that fries please is proarrhythmic. Class 2, beam, perfect for rate control, but watch out for bradycardia. Class 3, AIDS and bitch, for both atrial and ventricular problems, but you've got to keep an eye on that QT interval. And finally, Class 4, our IV drip, also for rate control, but the main risk being AV block. There you have it. The code is cracked. You see, memorizing these codes, these little systems, it's not just about getting a question right on a test. It's really about building a fundamental knowledge for any student who wants to master the